Good afternoon. Thanks for joining our ManageEngine User Lifecycle Management webinar. It's an integrated ManageEngine solution approach on how we can make our user or a staff employee lifecycle journey in an organization much easier. Let's jump into the agenda. Hope you guys can see my screen. And team, please update in chat, or if you guys need to ask anything, please put it in the chat window, or I'm having a couple of polls that I'll update it. Would appreciate your response. And we can always chat, and we have other organizer in the press, as a presenter for this webinar, so we can help with any questions that you guys have. All right. So in today's webinar, what we are going to cover is about a ManageEngine introduction, what changed, what's the current roadmap looks like, and the core focus will be on user administration. From the time employee gets into an organization till he moves out of an organization, the whole journey has a lot of elements involved in an organization. That includes service request, how it's managed, and then as and when a user gets promoted or a staff gets promoted or moved to a different location, and any changes, any privileges added to him, any sort of machines, you might manage one machine or a couple of mobile phones, or at least in the current trend, each and every person at least own 3 to 4 or 5 mobile devices. So it can be his laptop, personal laptop, his office laptop, his mobile phone, his tablet, and you name it. There is at least 3 to 4 bare minimum devices managed by a single user. Then how the user object gets provisioned, and it can be any object related to the user, how this is managed in an organization, and then any device management and security of that devices, and also about the user behavior, the staff behavior. Is he a risk profile, or how his devices are managed, how it's handed over, if there is an issue with the device, how it can be repaired or fixed, and make sure that the staff productivity is not hampered. So we're going to look into the whole aspects of our employee journey in an organization, how from the time the user joins the organization till the time he exits out of the organization. Then we do have some sort of question and answers, so feel free to ask any questions at the end of the session, or you can update your questions in our chat. Should be able to answer or respond accordingly after the webinar. And you guys should be able to see on the right side, we have service request, provisioning or deprovisioning generally happens. And this is kind of a process that's been followed by any organization. And then enforcement or enforce identity or IT asset or access to a particular department, or a file and folder permissions, or a network share, or certain privileges. And then report and audit on that user performance, the devices that he's using, the inventory report, auditing report, and then review and reconcile, review, audit, and make sure that things are right. Is he happy? And the whole user elements are managed, tracked. Now it can be done using our solution. So let's jump into the application. A quick intro about ManageEngine for people who's not aware of it. Hope you guys already know ManageEngine is a global brand. It's under Zoho Corporation as a global company. Has 3 umbrellas, 3 divisions. Zoho.com. It's applications for business collaboration and productivity, focused on business apps. And a ManageEngine comprehensive IT solution management, both in on-premises and in cloud. And any of our on-premises solution can be also hosted in your public cloud, AWS or Azure infrastructure. And then the separate IoT division that comes under WebNMS. I'm from Soft Solutions, Kris, Solutions Delivery Manager for ManageEngine New Zealand, and I also manage the brand for the country. And hope you guys might have seen me already, and I'm always available to assist and make sure that the solutions that you guys have is utilized to the fullest, And if you guys are after a particular business challenge that you need to resolve with ManageEngine solution, I'm always available to assist, consult, and assist implementing the solution for you guys, and also providing training accordingly. So all about ManageEngine, it's bringing IT together. So we have solutions across all IT segment, help desk, it's a premium solution, Service Desk Plus, available on premises or a SaaS tool, or it can be available as an MSP solution for multi-tenanted architecture, setups for MSPs. So that's pretty much a core control and command center, whereas all the other solutions can be integrated to it. Then we can manage our applications from a single unified console. So as I was telling about the integration, right? So control and command center, I would say, always call it like a control and command center. So in any organizations, there is an IT team or the IT is outsourced to somebody else. So pretty much we need to manage all our workloads, all our requests that comes in, categorize whether it's an incident or a service request, and manage it accordingly based on our internal IT service management manual with core and non-core services. So pretty much all those elements can be managed using a service desk application, say it on premises or cloud, and then it has a tight integration with other ManageEngine toolsets. Say if it needs to be a hybrid AD management, so creating an identity in Active Directory and then syncing that to your Office 365 or G Suite accounts, and managing, like using a bulk management or randomizing passwords. So we have the AD solution toolsets, and our endpoint management makes sure your devices are managed, your devices are procured, it's managed and secured accordingly using our Desktop Central. Though it's called Desktop Central, but it's across all endpoints. So it can be mobile device, can be workstations, laptops, tablets, or Mac OS or MacBooks or Linux machines across. And then we have the self-service, pretty much a major challenge across most of the organization about user account unlock and password reset. That covers under AD self-service plus. That is not just a self-service tool. It also helps with applying MFA even to our VPN connection. When we are trying to log in using our AD credential through our VPN network, we can apply an MFA using this particular solution. Plus, there's also a single sign-on solution. So if your AD credential synchronized to multiple applications, a provision to a user and staff, then when an AD account password gets changed or expired, then when the password gets changed, all as business application needs to get updated, and that's going to be a big challenge. So this solution helps solving that particular problem. And likewise, monitoring our networking devices, critical applications, and then business insights without reporting. We're doing all this amazing job, but if we're not able to report that properly, then it's going to be a difficult situation. So where we have our reporting module and all our solution, plus on top of it, out-of-box business insights can be achieved using our analytics, our advanced analytics solution. All right, so what we see on this is about user administration process. So from the time resource request has been raised by a department head or a business function head. So they give the requirements, HR filters out, interviews a candidate and selects the candidate, and they will give the bare minimum details. As you guys can see, HR technician raises a request using Service Desk Plus to create a new user, and admin process the ticket and creates a new user using Service Desk Plus. Where this can happen? So you guys can see it up here. The application server, it has, our Service Desk application is a kind of a help desk tool. Under service catalog, we have user administration, user management. So that's when we have a pre-templated approach where we can fill in the details, the bare minimum requirement that's needed for a new user onboarding, like first name, last name, full name, preferred email ID if needed, or at least reporting to manager department. So once we get those details, then we can automate that onboarding process using our AD manager solution. So our application sits in, our service desk and our AD solution sits in together. So the user gets created from our AD solution, And once the identity is created in a native Active Directory, then if you guys are in a hybrid platform, you guys need to, we don't really need to create this identity in multiple control panels. So once the identity is created, object is created, then the object can be synced to your Azure Active Directory if needed, and then your Google account, Google Cloud if needed. So, and we have an ability to control all this using the templates and automation policy using our Active Directory management. Not just that, also about any modification. So user provisioning, user reprovisioning, user deprovisioning, or any sort of management of an AD object can be achieved using this particular solution. We'll have a look into that in detail using our application directly. So let me share my browser. Hope you guys are able to see my screen. Perfect. So this pretty much our service desk application on premises. So we have a service catalog up here. And under service catalog, what we have is we have user management. So this is something that pretty much service catalog, very ideal for any organization. So whatever the services that has been provided to all the organization-wide staff can be displayed, and people have an ability to come and request corresponding service request from here. So well, let's start with set up a new employee, or it can be a new user onboarding. So let's go click on set up a new employee. So as you guys can see, the set up a new employee, by default, I've already defined an SLA up here. And if I have, we have an ability to control this particular service, because user onboarding involves multiple departments gets involved. It's not just IT, it involves HR, it involves payroll team, it involves accounts or other business applications team. So say if we need to get a new user onboarded, we fill in these details. If it's going to be for a single user, and any specific resources that needed or updated for this particular user can be selected up here. And this is on a very blanketed, plain vanilla resource request template. So a new user onboarding request. Once these details are filled in, then simply add a request. Just giving the details up here and other details, and add a request. This request gets added, and based on the business workflow and other things, the request gets assigned, and based on the task that has been configured, it gets automatically assigned to the correspondent owners, so that they can track through, they can complete. Particularly a person from the IT team can create a user and AD, an exchange administrator can create exchange related mailbox and other details, and database access, file and folder permission access, and other things can be done. So you can track all those list of tasks out here. Let's try doing one more service request. I want to give a clear differentiator on how smart we can, what sort of smarts we can apply in our user management. So let me start with new user onboarding, and again select a requester. So it could be an HR person and other first name, last name, other details. Bulk user, provide all the user details, or if you guys wanted to input from a CSV, you can input it, and you can provide all the necessary details. And as you guys can see, the list of tasks that's updated up here: entry in Active Directory, set up Exchange account, order phone, order computer, configure phone, configure computer, update payroll system, provide access to business applications. So those sort of things. It can be this list of checklist for a user onboarding can vary from organization to organization. So we can define this task as part of a service catalog service request template, and then have it properly organized and we can assign a specific uh, ownership for each and every activity. So if I'm going to add a request, I need to give the specific details. So I'm starting on, say, if it's going to get started on 1st of April and other details. And we provide the necessary details accordingly, and then the user gets created. And as you guys can see, we also have file server management, like set folder permissions or remove folder permissions. So on an ad hoc basis, if there is any specific request comes in, based on the integration I have, I can quickly do these specific tasks. And within the service desk request, I have an ability to run a script or assign a device for the user, or install or uninstall a software, or deprovision a device, enable user in AD. So these sort of task activities can be performed. So we have an ability to select users and then enable or disable those lists directly from here. And the application is integrated with our AD manager as well as Desktop Central. So we have an ability to control, manage identity plus the devices. And if you have to locate a device for a particular device, then we have an ability to log into this and select a particular device. This will help me track the device in real time. So that if you guys are having third-party vendors or contractors or field work employees, field staff, then we have an ability to control this using our tight integrations. Let me go back to the presentation. So we covered the how our AD objects can be created from here, and how it can be managed within a request, within a service request, and within the custom menu up here. So just in case if you wanted to do more extensive AD related activity, we have an ability to click on this question mark, click on AD manager, that will help me to take to the application directly. So it's pretty much like DCME, I mean our application. So we can log into this application. So now it should be able to work. Because we have a bit of a technical glitch and I'm connected to my hotspot. Let's click on this, and AD manager should be able to take me there. So as you guys can see. So once we log into the AD manager application, then clicking on a management will open up all sort of controls that we can perform with our AD manager. Should be able to log in. So while the applications gets loaded, so using our AD manager, though, it's an AD manager, it helps with our hybrid journey. So most of the organizations do have on-premises Active Directory. They also have an Azure infrastructure, Office 365 infrastructure. So the way the application helps us to migrate, make a journey much easier, smoother from moving from our on-premises Active Directory to a fully SaaS-based Azure Active Directory. So we have an ability to do that. So if we click on management, I'm sorry, let me go back to the home screen. It's a pretty much an admin-based tool. What we can do is we know that number of password expired users, inactive users, in one single click, like delete users or disable users, like 2-3 clicks, we should be able to get this done, irrespective whether it's 100 users, 200 users, or 1,000 users. So once I click on disable, so it says inactive users in 30 days. If I'm going to click on disable users, what it does is it will display who are the list of users objects, and then we can review, and then we can disable it or delete it, and we can make necessary changes accordingly. So that's the kind of controls that we have. And let me go back to management. I'll give a quick insight about how how we can leverage the automation and the application. So we saw the templates using, while creating a user, right? It can be a basic template, a user creation template, or a user modification template based on first name, last name, and department, and reporting to manager. We have an ability to control all the other Active Directory object to be preset in the application. So as you guys can see, we have something called a creation rule from our tool. So using this creation rule, I have an ability to control based on a department. So my criteria is going to be just the department. So if the department is going to be XYZ, then based on this, I can configure other attributes. I can set other attributes. So if it's going to be information and technology, I can set all the other attributes by using just a template. That is pretty much available using pretty much possible. This is not just for user creation template. It is also applicable for user modification template. So pretty much we use this for user creation happens with bare minimum must have details, fields, and then user modification happens with a lot more other entries. So we can build upon, once the object gets created and directory synced to your Azure Active Directory, then we have an ability to modify with any other attributes accordingly. So let me show the similar one in user modification. Like we have a modification rules that we can leverage, and that will help based on certain criterias and condition. So if a user belongs to IT, he has privileges to XYZ network share, he has certain access controls and other things, so that can be updated. It's a similar way. So as you guys can see, modify, it's a similar creation rule. If this condition satisfies, then I will set up any of these fields during the modification. So helps with any MAC move address changes or physical location changes, or when a staff gets promoted or moved to a different country or moved to a different department, we can make all this necessary changes. And from the management tab, we have an ability to go ahead and perform any sort of management activity. Say for example, if it's a user is exiting out of an organization, we have an ability even to set an auto reply. And the way we manage this using the automation, I'll give a good example. So as you guys can see, the AD user creation, we have these three automation that can be done real quick. So simply click on create a new automation. The automation can be achieved out of users, computers, groups, or contacts. So we are talking about user lifecycle, the user lifecycle management. So under automation, we can create user, select an appropriate template, and location can be from CSV file. So from our service desk, if we have appropriate fields entered appropriately with the specific attributes, then we can schedule a report from service desk, get it to a particular network share, and from this network share, we can pick up that specific attributes from a CSV file, and then we can apply, we can implement a business workflow if needed for certain critical tasks like an approver, reviewer, executor, and stuff like that. And the application has tight integration with SQL Server directly. So if you guys are using a different HRMS system, it has a SQL Server running in the backend, or Oracle database, or Zoho People, or Workday, or Util Pro, or Bamboo HR, then we have a direct integration. If these integrations are not available, then by default we can go with data from CSV. Data from CSV is a quite common integration or automation option that's pretty much applicable to any HR applications. Then we can run this automation on a particular frequency and enable a notification. So this can go to a notification to the help desk solution, or it can update a particular group mailbox. And what I'm trying to show is about the policies, the collection of things that can be done during the onboarding or an offboarding or a modification process. Say for example, I'm just editing an existing provisioning policy. So create user, these are all the instant tasks that I can be done. It can be creation, and after user object is created, modify the user with a specific template. And a successive task after 1 day or after 3 days, I wanted to rotate his password, reset his password, and set up a random password, because the first 3 days, not sure how it's managed. So I need to make sure things are happening right. And after 3 days, I can do other one, like I can, um, um, run some sort of custom script for that particular user, or move home folder to a kind of a permanent, or some sort of after 3 days. It can be probation, like 30-day training or 90-day training. So we have an ability to specify any successive task accordingly. And then we have additional successive tasks. So after 3 days, it can be 30-day. After 30 days, we can do XYZ. After 90 days, we can do XYZ. So assign license after the 90 days. So he becomes a permanent employee. I'm enabling MFA. And after 90 days, I'm also assigning license. So those sort of details, we can set it up and then click on update. And this should get, we have an ability to select this policy during the automation. So once it's updated, you can see when I'm selecting automation, so we have set explicit task that can be performed using automation, can be used for AD cleanup, management activities and stuff, or I can simply select provisioning policy and then get it done. So this is how we run the automation. The other important aspects is how to utilize the existing reports, intelligence, insights. Do you guys see the select objects? So we have an ability to pick any of the existing report for maintenance activity, for our Active Directory maintenance. So it can be Office 365, or I can select Office 365 report, select inactive users. And once the inactive users are selected, then it's going to give me the list, and then I can disable, or I can run some sort of automation. So if a user gets disabled, move to a particular OU in our Active Directory environment, then automatically follow this particular sequence, run this automation on a regular basis. So our AD management maintenance becomes much easier. So that's in terms of automation. Sweet, and hope you guys can see my screen. What we see right now is user device management and security. So under user device management, so as part of the onboarding process, it's not just an AD object, it is also a mobile device. It is also a laptop or a computer that gets assigned to the end user, and it's how it's getting deployed. We need to build a machine based on their need, with appropriate application preloaded to it, with appropriate controls and access controls, and that will enable that user to perform his job much faster, much efficient. So that's where our endpoint management and security solution comes handy. So where we have an ability to enroll user and their devices, and then assign ownership, then we should be able to manage accordingly. So that takes care of making sure that vulnerabilities are assessed accordingly, and then they are user machines or devices are patched, the security is managed, and sort of browsers, because a lot of vulnerabilities happen from an email or from internet browsing. So we have to make sure our users' browsers are secured. Irrespective of what browser they use, we need to have some sort of control measures in what plugins are allowed, or if there is any threats, then we need to notify and remove those plugins management. Then control the applications, whitelisted applications and blacklisted applications. And if a user needs support, say if one of your staff is working remotely, and if he wanted a quick assistance that's impacting his productivity, with the integrated solution, help desk engineer should be able to log into that machine and help sorting it real quick. So this parts of the user journey in an organization, user lifecycle management journey in an organization. And let me go back to the application. So from this application, what you guys see is it's a desktop central integrated approach. So what you guys see is I have a custom menu that's been set based on the configuration. So I can quickly, if I need to do a remote control, then simply click on that, and that should enable me to the tools remote control option. Let me go back to this. And the best part is about from the request, we have an ability to control this as well. So as you guys can see, I can provision a user, install, uninstall software, or remote control, or locate a device. So these are all the possible controls available directly. So let me go back here. It's pretty much what it does is, based on the integration, it's going to load up a similar window. Once the window is loaded up, then we can literally manage and assess user risk, the risk profiles, then what devices, how it can be managed, any misconfigurations, those things can be sorted out for our user. And we also have the mobile. It's all part of a unified endpoint management and security solution. So say if it's a Windows 10 machine, so modern day Windows management, or a Mac device management, or an Android phone, or an iOS phone management, or a tablet management can be all processed using our MDM, and we have an ability to control where, what, and assign profiles. So helps mostly with the corporate confidential data. So all our corporate confidential data is safe and secure using this particular solution. So let me go back to the presentation. And last but not the least, there's quite a few, but pretty much then comes our a critical part of our user lifecycle journey. So when a staff join an organization, the quite common challenges that they would encounter is account unlock and password reset. So that is quite commonly happening, and most of the organization with a native Active Directory, and mostly all the Active Directory identities are synced to other applications as well. So when their password gets expired or an account gets locked out, they lost access to any other apps, and it's going to be impacting their business productivity. On such situations, the best tool that can be applied is our self-service AD self-service plus, which is not just a self-service password management tool or account unlock tool. It is also a very good solution for a single sign-on. It is a good single sign-on solution, because any AD account, once we have all the applications synced and it's added for the users, then those application gets automatically updated as well. So it helps with a single sign-on and has a multi-factor. So it is also an MFA solution. So the objective behind that is we leverage AD self-service plus MFA option, and then we access any other applications. And the important challenge that it solves is about cache credential update. Say, for example, if a user traveling out of your trusted AD zone network and his password expired, that's going to be a biggest challenge. He can call our IT team and ask, hey, can you reset my password? Yes, we can reset it. They're going to reset the password. But how the new password gets updated into his machine, unless otherwise he connected back to the network. So the updating the cache credential is a bigger challenge. So how that can be solved is using our tool. It maintains a VPN connection to the endpoints, and as and when it identify an object account has been unlocked or a password has been reset, that details is passed on to that particular endpoint using a VPN connection, and it updates the endpoint cache credential. So the user will have access to the applications. And then the other one is about the passwords, how the passwords can be securely vaulted, stored, and can be shared with our users. So we have a separate password management solution that works integrated with our service desk and other solutions accordingly. And what you guys see right now is about our AD integrated tool. So pretty much we've already covered this. Helps with identity governance and administration, plus IT compliance and security management part of it. And hope you guys might have seen the recent Microsoft updates. Microsoft is saying that respective, it is asking all organizations to take their appropriate measures to make sure the identity is properly governed and administered according to the organization IT security requirements. Sweet. And then this about our security incident. So how this plays in a user lifecycle management is understanding the user behavior, user analytics, and it's part of our application, because the journey of a user from the time he recruited into an organization till the time he moves out of the organization, he plays a crucial role in an organization. So the files that he's accessing, the confidential data that he's accessing, as actions like deletion of files, movement of files, file and folder changes, or any such activity, whatever the user does in terms of our IT infrastructure or a networking storage or from a network component perspective, what browsers he's accessing, or is it impacting the organization in any ways. Those sort of things can be tracked with some sort of security risk parameter, and then we have an ability to track and make appropriate measures to protect a corporate confidential data. That's where our security incident and event management comes in place. And then this is one of the important slide that I would like to highlight. This pretty much the user life cycle journey. So managing the employee life cycle from the time it gets hired, onboarding, employee changes, and then offboarding. So HR plays their own role, like, or a department. It creates service request, new, modify, update, maintain, where IT team does the following with all our integrated solution that will help making the job much more easier. And thus comes our end of our webinar. Let me see if there is any question so that I can answer. Sweet. It's nothing much. Handover is a key challenges. Lack of information is a key challenges. So lack of information can be overcome when we have a proper template designed and make necessary fields as a mandatory fields, and give that leverage. So we need to let our HR, the person who's raising a request or providing that inputs to IT team, supposed to fill in that particular template. And if they don't fill in any of those templates, the ownership goes back to them. We can apply some sort of multi-stage approval process so that it gets approved and there is multiple filters and control, so that we get the right details. So we will not end up with a lack of information situation. Then handover process. Handover process fails when we work on a siloed solution. When everything is integrated and work integrated, then it becomes easier. So handover happens much easier. So HR fills the detail, then that details goes for an approval process. All those entries are tracked, documented, and then that get processed accordingly. And whatever the engineer does, help desk engineer does, or the network engineer does, or the task that has been performed, the checklist that has been updated during the onboarding process or any such things, it's all tracked accordingly, and we have a clear handover process within one single application. So that's how we can overcome the handover challenges. Hope the webinar has been helpful. If you guys need more help, do reach out to our sales at manageengine.co.nz. So we have an awesome team with us, can help answer any of your queries. and provide right solutions. You can also book an online, an on-site demo and consulting or training with your local expert. Pretty much me, we are based in Newmarket. So if there is a requirement, I need to travel around, I should be able to do reach out to us. We should be able to help. Much appreciated. Thanks for your time. Hope we are on time today. Thanks for joining our webinar. Have a good one.